Happy Friday, College of Eastern Idaho. It is so good to have you. And again, thank you for joining me with these Friday updates. And this is the second one that actually, this is the third one that I've had so far. So it's really good to have you. And it's good to have the college join us. And I don't know how many of you have had a chance to meet Ray Fox, but Ray is new to us. And not only is he new, his position is new to us. So Ray is the Chief Information Officer, and this college hasn't had one. But as we think about the importance of the college, we know that we've got 6 buildings in a campus and maybe a 7th building coming up. Another really important area of this college, and from the very beginning, has been the digital college, the backbone, the IT that everything runs on. It becomes really important to us as we deliver teaching and learning to our students. So Ray was brought here because of his expertise in that, and he was at the lab. And Ray, why don't you jump in real quick? Give us a little background on where you've come from and the kind of work you've done in IT, because I think it's nice to set some context.
Certainly. I've been working in IT for a while, since 1982. When I joined the military, I worked in communications there as a tech. I started off fixing communications equipment, and then moved on to a leadership position as a signal officer. After 23 years in the military, I retired and went back to school to get a degree in software development, and then went on to a master's in information security.
Where did you get the master's?
ISU, Idaho State University.
Good. Yeah, good.
I went through their NIATEC program, which was amazing. Luckily, I was picked up by INL out there at Idaho National Lab to work on their cybersecurity division. While there, I worked on assessments, which is we'd go out to different both government facilities and not non-government facilities, just commercial facilities, and assess their cybersecurity posture.
Yeah.
So we do tests and ask questions and run scans and assess where they're at, and then give them sort of a roadmap of how to get better.
Good.
Also, I was included on incident response teams and going out on hunts. A hunt is where you go out where someone thinks they might have had a problem, and we go out and look through their logs and see if we can find out where they might have been penetrated. So that was my background with the.
So have you been how long have you been in the Idaho Falls area?
I've been in the Idaho Falls area since just about 8 years now.
Okay, so and you got off active duty and then moved. Did you move back to Idaho Falls, or did you just put a pin in the map and show up here? Or?
I went from when I retired. I retired and landed in Chalice, Idaho. So we built a house.
Okay.
We built a house up there in Chalice on the east fork of the Salmon River. And then after doing a lot of little jobs, I taught at the elementary school. I substituted up there. I worked for the volunteered with the ambulance service and with the fire department and a lot of other odd jobs. And
all right.
After retirement didn't work out for my wife. She said I was driving her nuts and I needed to go back to school.
With only 23 years, you weren't old enough to retire anyway. You just couldn't have been that old, so that's not a great idea. You get in a lot of trouble that early. So
exactly. But then I qualified for a GI Bill, so I decided to go back to get another degree in computers. Always fascinated me, so I thought software development would be something that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
And while I was there, I met up with Corey Scow.
Sure.
He picked me out of a crowd and asked me to come and sit in on some of his classes, on some NIATEC classes.
Yeah.
And then I applied for the program and got my MBA through there and graduated from there.
Well, you've got a wonderful background. So Corey knows a lot about cyber and about IT. So you kind of learned under the best.
Certainly did. He is very knowledgeable and willing to share that knowledge.
So then right after ISU, did you go, was that immediately to the lab, or was there anything in between?
I did an internship with the DHS, Department of Homeland
Yeah.
Security, out in DC for about 6 months. wasn't very long, and then medical problems brought me back here.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
my wife passed away from cancer. So
Oh, I don't know if I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, well, it was sudden. It was really, when I thought of cancer, I thought, it's going to be a long, drawn out process.
Sure.
And, I was in for the long haul, and it just went really fast, and she passed away quickly, and just really shocked me. And
Sure.
and
No, that's hard regardless.
yeah, my headspace was really odd at that time. And
Yeah.
and then someone at the lab asked me to apply. Let me think of his name. Kevin Hemsley.
Okay.
Kevin Hemsley, I don't know how he found my name from somebody else who had applied out there, and he asked me to apply for a job. So I did. And I wasn't really seriously thinking about the lab, but then that came up, and we interviewed well, and it really seemed like a good fit. That way I could stay around my kids my adult kids were still here in Idaho.
Sure.
So they're all in Idaho Falls right now, which is really nice.
Well, that's really nice. In fact, we've got a new grandbaby in Portland, so we're gonna head over there and see the new baby. So having everybody here in the region's wonderful.
It is.
Yeah,
it sure is.
So what did you like about the lab, and what was it that was hard to do at the lab? Because that is a massive place. It's significant, and they're doing a lot of great work. So what did you like, and what didn't you like about it?
Wow. What did I like and what didn't I like? One of those is both. The research and development piece of it.
Yeah.
I got on an LDRD to develop a way to remove firmware from chips. So
Okay. Wow.
I started off with a destructive way of removing it, from pulling the chips and then downloading it to a non-destructive way, so the chips would stay intact.
Yeah.
And we still get the software from it and be able to compare that to see if it's been tampered with. That was fun because it was something new. I mean, it sort of went back to my roots of, when I was working with resistors and diodes.
Sure.
But then it was still also new territory because I had never tried to do something like that. So it really pushed my boundaries on that. And after working with that LDRD, it actually spun off to some other research that was going on in the lab. They took my research and applied it to the electric grid sector with some.
What a fascinating area too, and talk about a vulnerability. The grid is probably one of the areas of most vulnerability for this country.
Yep, it is, and being able to help out with that, to be able to say, okay, use this process with a new device and compare it to the firmware that the company supplies,
Mhm.
see if it's changed.
Right.
And it's all part of the supply chain that can be corrupted.
Yeah, exactly. So name a couple people out there that we might know that you've worked with at the lab. I don't know if any come to mind, but we know quite a few individuals in cyber out there, and just see if we know a few.
Ron Fisher, do you know Ron Fisher?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
He was in charge of the department I was in.
exactly.
Yeah. My sons play tennis with him, so.
Okay, good. Do they let him win?
No, they don't, which is good.
Well, that's
They
good.
should. He should really work for it and earn it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Kevin Hemsley is out there. Wow, I'm drawing blanks right now.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So you've been here about a month.
Yep.
So this is a big change. It's a big change from the lab to a community college. So first of all, why us? Why would you want to move to a community college?
Well, I've always put a high value on education.
Mhm.
I mean, I've been taking college classes since I graduated from high school.
Yeah.
Normally one at a time, here and there where I could, or taking short breaks to go full time.
Right.
But even after getting my master's, I've continued on with my education. So
Sure.
it's really important. And with the community college, it's just, I really like the individuality, the small, close knit community that it is.
Well, having gone to school at ISU rather recently, then you are used to a big university, and we're quite different than that.
Yes, in some ways you are, but in other ways we're not. I mean, I think we still have the friendliness of a big college, of people wanting to welcome you in and take care of you. I felt that at ISU. I felt just as much here.
Yeah, good. We really tried to do that.
Yeah, and I think I haven't taken courses here. The list of courses that are available is fantastic, especially in the cyber department.
Well, it is, and that is one of the areas that we've put a lot of emphasis, and the lab has a lot to do with that. Nursing is quite important because of all the hospitals, and a variety of things from the lab would be important as well. So IT and cyber and computing and all of those areas have become an important part of what this college produces.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the way you have out on the Yellowstone building.
Yep.
The SOC that the cyber team has set up is just, it's no slouch. It's right up there with what you would see in a normal operating cyber center. So they have it set up really well and really well maintained, and you see the care and good training has gone into it.
I'm really glad to hear about that, because I'm just not involved in that. I know what they are and I know what they do, but to compare it to a nice industry SOC is good to know that we're giving these students a really solid background, the things that they would expect to see out in business and industry.
We really are.
So CIO is something that's new to us. So as you begin to look at the college, what do you think, what are some directions for the college that you would imagine we would go into?
As a CIO, first coming into it, I did an assessment because
Good.
I didn't know where we were at. So you can't move forward if you don't know where you're starting from. And going from there, I was able to pick out definite areas I wanted to focus on. But one of the things I did find out is the things we do really well here. We got some really smart people with a lot of good technical skills, and what they focus on, they do really well. But there are stuff that, without having a cyber background, it just drops by the wayside. It falls off the radar if you don't think about it, and if you're not used to thinking about it, it can be easily overlooked.
So, we were talking before we started about the vulnerabilities of the college, and what do you think some of those are? And go ahead and talk to us about the kind of things that you think we ought to be doing as employees of the college to lessen our vulnerabilities.
Well, one of the biggest vulnerabilities is the people. Even today, with everyone knows what phishing is. People still click on links that they shouldn't click on that comes in their email, and it will. I don't know if there's a training design that will prevent people from clicking on a free gas card or
they're clever.
Like they are, right. and even the trainings. I mean, they try to make them recognizable. The adversaries aren't. They're trying to make them look perfect.
Right.
I mean, they can see our email, see our logos, and make them look like they're from the president or one of the VPs or a dean or somebody. And that's really, really important to keep in mind of what's, if something looks even a little suspicious, you should question it.
It's really gotten to that point. I don't know how many people have come to me and ask about why I would want them to buy a gift card, those kind of things. Well, I wouldn't. It's not me. So,
Right.
So if things are out of character, don't trust them.
Exactly.
And
some of the other areas that we could improve here is our software. There's a lot of really good free software out there that's valuable and useful, but some of it is not secure. It's not, and it's not because of the programmers are trying to make it insecure. It's that they're trying to do the minimum to get it out into production. We have at our disposal the knowledge and the skills to be able to evaluate the software that you want. If you see a piece of software and you're not sure about it, if it's odd, give us a call. We can pull it up, download it into a safe environment, run through it, do some research on it, see if it's valuable to have on our networks. And if we find out it's not, we can make you some recommendations that are secure.
Good.
That are not to say no, you can't have that software. We're going to find a way to get the job done in a secure manner.
So, everybody appreciates the work that IT does, and I had a printing problem moments ago, and, being the president probably helps a little bit, but nevertheless, I know that you've got a great team of desktop support. And I know you track a lot of the after action reports and how pleased people are with you. And I didn't ask you to look this up, and I don't know if you know or not. You haven't been here for a long time, but do you have any idea of the satisfaction level with your team?
I don't. I haven't looked it up, but
yeah,
everywhere I go, people are complimenting our team, how responsive they are and how helpful they are. And whenever I see people walk into the walk-in support, they are taken care of pretty quickly. I mean, even one time we had a young lady come in. She was really frustrated with her laptop and couldn't get it working. And she had a name of one of my techs.
Yeah. I
called him up and said, so-and-so? She said, yes, we were talking on the phone. We got cut off and she's here now. So and he took care of her. So
that is wonderful, and I think it tells our staff how important they are and the work that they do, and for students too. I've been so impressed with those Dell laptops that we have that we're using for students that are, we have CARES money that went out.
Right.
We bought quite a few of those, and I was so impressed at how easily those things will log into the network, and you can become productive with it.
Yeah, they are. They're definitely an asset for the students, and when they get turned back in, they'll still have life left on them. We can reset them down to factory standards and loan them out to another person, and it'll be just like new. We'll sanitize them. We'll take it down, the hard drive down to 0, erase everything, and reload all the software back on it, and it'll be like it's right out of the box.
So how's our Wi-Fi? So those notebooks rely on Wi-Fi for connectivity, and I'm not sure if we added some more hotspots along with the college or not. We talked about it at one time. So
we've actually changed over recently to the Aruba system.
Yeah,
it's a new vendor,
Good.
And we've added their access points are a higher grade. They give a farther range.
Yeah.
So we didn't add more spots, but with the increased range, it did cover the dead zones.
Good.
We've been walking around trying to find dead zones where we can add AP access points to get better coverage. That's just not only here, but that's at our satellite satellite campuses as well.
Yeah, so those kind of things make a big difference. And I don't know if we ultimately can do it, and I don't know what it would take for Wi-Fi, but partly I could envision having our students come with their own computing devices. It's always hard to keep labs open and waiting for those labs. But if every student had their own computing device, then we wouldn't have to put as much effort into computer labs. You'd always have some, I think, for high end if you're doing CAD and that kind of thing. But just for word processing, I don't know why student grade computers wouldn't be just fine. So I don't know what it would take to pull down our Wi-Fi. If there would be so many students, it would overrun the Wi-Fi capability.
That's interesting question. I'm not sure what the load would take for us to notice it. We could do some turning off class time. Do some load pushing on it and see where it stands. See what the upload and download speeds can increase and decrease too.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to know how many students could simultaneously be on. And of course, students aren't on, and I'd say at least a third of our students are accessing classes through Canvas and
Right.
those realms outside of here. So that's an important element, that those are always up and running as well.
Yeah, the having Canvas up and all the time, because that's the access point for the students to get in with their classes, to get their schedules, to get their notes, to take tests. It's very important. And we, my programmers, Karen Foster and her team, just does an amazing job of keeping it up and keeping it smooth. I mean, all the work they do is seamless to everyone accessing it.
Well, a lot of people don't see it, and I've been here about 6 years. I think that's about right. Boy, so much was done by hand when I first got here. It was just amazing, and we have grown significantly in our ability to automate, and that whole thing just revolves around IT and those kind of functions.
It does, and we're making improvements all the time. Like today, the problem you had with your printer.
Yeah.
It's because we upgraded our software so people on a laptop doing wirelessly can still print.
Good.
They can go to a printer, find out the number, and call it up and print right to where they're standing.
So that's going to be a great advantage to be able to do this. I'm glad I know that that's in place. So I kind of watch for that. Most of what I do is here in the office, but knowing that I could be in a conference room and be able to print would be really valuable to know.
Absolutely. And the software also tracks of where the jobs are being printed from.
Right.
And it can help us to evaluate where we might need an additional printer. If one's always out of paper, maybe get a different type of printer
a bigger printer.
Yeah,
sure.
with a bigger reserve of paper, or a printer's not getting used. Let's move it to another lab or another building where it can be resourced better.
Yeah. So again, being able to collect that kind of data is so important. We're trying to collect data on student head count and those kind of things, and we should be able to collect data on the use of our infrastructure and know where the heavy areas are and move resources into those. How much are you around Canvas? Is that something that you're moderately familiar with, or?
No, not really. Coming here is the first time I've been exposed to Canvas, so I'm not familiar with it at all.
Well, it's relatively new to us. We had Blackboard for a number of years, and I don't know that a lot of us miss Blackboard that much, but Ryan Faulkner has been deeply involved with Canvas and having it run, and we're a digital campus in a lot of respects. So being able to teach people from all around the region, if not all around the state, is becoming more and more important to us.
Yeah, and I've been working with Ryan as well to reach outside the state too, to get some approvals and the paperwork stuff done, so we can get the authorizations to bring in from outside of Idaho for some classes that we offer that's not available.
So describe what cloud-based services are, and is there an advantage to cloud-based versus having servers here on campus? Why would we want one over the other?
I think there are advantages and disadvantages to both.
Yeah.
Advantages for cloud bases is if you go to a 100% cloud based solution, you have a team that's is just not the hardware you're getting. You're getting expertise
Mhm.
on the back end too. So if you have a problem, you got someone you can call right away and get them in. You don't have the cost of supplying your own equipment, all the servers. It takes a lot of servers to run a campus. Some of the disadvantages are though is you're not in control of your equipment, so you're outsourcing your security. So
Would they be more secure or less secure than the servers we would have here on campus? Or is that just kind of depends?
It really depends. It depends on the training level of your people. It depends on your the atmosphere of the campus. So right now, they're probably more secure because who we have now is Colleague,
Right.
and we're shifting Colleague to the cloud right now.
We are.
And there's a lot of colleges that use it, and so they have experience with securing the data and securing the links and stuff. So I'm very confident with their processes.
So then we use iron primarily for our background, a backbone, Idaho Regional Optical Network, and most of the colleges and universities use it. It's a high-speed internet connectivity, really important to Idaho. So that's what we would use to connect into the cloud, I would imagine.
Yes,
from here.
Absolutely. Iron is our primary backbone, and we have a secondary of Sumo, but with Sumo, it's on all the time as well. So we can load balance if it gets overwhelmed, so we can shoot down both pipes. But if either one of them goes down, the other one can take the load.
So a backhoe one place on campus wouldn't cause us to go down.
No, it would not.
It might slow us down a bit.
Yeah, it would probably take 3 backhoes. Very lucky, digging in the right
really,
spot.
we're having
Yeah.
a really bad day that
Exactly.
day. Well, that happened at CSI, and I don't know how that could even happen, but it would appear that they had one on and off ramp onto the campus, and it's a classic backhoe accident, and they weren't careful and hit it, and then the college went down. And for us, if the internet goes down, we might as well lose electricity while we're at it, because it's just so essential to what we all do.
It is right now. It really is, and well, like you said, going to the cloud, a lot of the resources will still be available from offsite. We'll be able to VPN and still get work done. All the remote learning students will still have their the access. The on campus will be the ones affected.
Right.
So being able to go to a hybrid system to the combination of in classroom and online classes would be beneficial.
So you wouldn't have been here last year when we had to go pretty quickly, when the governor essentially closed the colleges and universities because of COVID. And we transitioned probably as well as anybody did. It's still a bit traumatic, but we were able to pick up these classes and move them to online, and it worked okay, thanks to Ryan and IT and all of that. We don't want to do it again.
Certainly not.
No, we don't. But I think we're again, I think relatively prepared that if something would happen, we could move fully online with classes if we had to close the college down for some reason.
Certainly, with the wireless backbone that we have in now, we could support that. And people could come in if they don't have access at home. They could come in, upload and download homework assignments, even from the parking lot.
Do we still have that wireless router out on the parking lot?
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's really good to know. I hadn't asked, but it's good. We put that out and we marketed it, and I think that it helped a number of students to come up when they didn't have access at home to be able to connect to our wireless.
Right. Absolutely. And just, it's still there and it's still
Good.
operating well. So I wouldn't change it.
No, that's good. I think it's a nice feature. We probably need to remind people that it's out there, just so that they know. You wouldn't use it if you didn't know it was there.
Right. Yeah, you expect good Wi-Fi inside a building, but not sitting in the parking lot.
Not necessarily in the parking lot. That's okay. Is there a type of computer you like, or we're dealing in desktops?
Dell.
So you're
yes.
a Dell fan. Then.
I am very much a Dell fan, and that's because of the number of computers I've had to purchase and the service I've gotten from them, and honestly the return policy. When we've gotten a Lemon, I've never had any problems shipping a part back or shipping the whole thing back and getting exactly what I need, from laptops to full blown servers. I mean, a 6040, a $10,000 server, comes with a bad chip. They say, okay, let's get you a new one.
Pack it up, and
it does, yeah. So their customer service. I feel like I'm an ad for Dell. Buy Dell. No, it's just that I really.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you get your job is to make sure that these computers all work.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. You want reliability.
You should pick the kind of equipment. So you're buying this not necessarily on price.
Right. That's true. They aren't always the cheapest.
Yeah.
But it is a good quality, and it stands the test of time.
Yeah. Tell us how the help desk works.
The help desk is. I was going to make a joke, but I won't. It runs really smooth.
Good now. Yeah, you wouldn't get help desk support.
Exactly. It runs really smoothly. I mean, help desk number is 5444. So if anyone needs to call the help desk, write that down.
Nice.
Keep it by your desk.
That's right. That's good. Yeah, you didn't give out your phone number.
Oh no. Everyone gets my phone number automatically. But if you call the help desk, we got guys with headsets waiting to walk you through the problems that you're having.
Yeah.
And they come up with some odd stuff. And unfortunately today they were stumped on one from the computer labs that they were still working out. But
okay.
But that happens.
Yeah.
But when you call the help desk, they generally open the ticket right then and walk you through it. There's no waiting. While you're on the phone, they'll get you handled. Again, with the walk up, if you walk up with your laptop having problems logging in or anything like that, they'll sit down. We have a space. You can sit down at a computer. If you don't have your laptop, it's just with accessing your services. They'll sit down beside you and walk you through it. On the apps page, there's the help desk where you can open your own ticket. If it's not something you need immediately, it's just something that's quirky that you need fixed, like say your camera's not stopped working,
right,
for Zoom calls.
Sure.
You don't know why. Put a help desk ticket. We prioritize those, and they get worked on as they come in. So
the help desk has been very valuable, and we really appreciate that, and for your team, the work that they do. So that's a wonderful thing. How vulnerable are we to a cyber attack at the college?
Every company, every institution, every entity is vulnerable, because the only way to be 100% secure on your computer is to leave it in the box unplugged. Yeah. So we take risks at every juncture. Being the college, we put a high value on accessibility, because in a learning environment, we need access to the information. So with that comes risks. So there's a high degree of risk, but there are mitigations that we can.
So what are a few of the things that we're doing to really limit our vulnerability to cyber attack?
Well, the first thing I had my guys do was to go through our Active Directory.
Mhm.
That has everybody who's allowed to log onto our network.
And can you tell when a unrecognized IP address is trying to get in?
Not right now.
Oh,
That-
okay.
That is in the plan
All right.
for our monitoring. We're looking into either a device or software that will help us with that. But I went having to go through the Active Directory and see people who had access that were no longer associated with the college.
Yeah.
And just deleted those files.
Good.
So that shrinks our footprint. Our what's the cyber term for it? I'm drawing a blank now. I apologize.
No, that's okay. So it just lessens our vulnerability.
Our attack surface
Yeah,
is what
okay,
it is.
okay,
Yes.
right.
So yeah, it lowers the number of access points that an attacker can come in. That's one of the first things I did. I'm also having people go through all the software that's been loaded on the computers,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going through it right now, looking at evaluating the software, because there are hundreds of different versions of software, and I understand everybody has their favorites.
I'm sure there are recipe softwares out there, and who knows what other kinds of softwares
There are.
applications that are loaded on college machines.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm looking at right now to identify stuff that I know is vulnerable,
Right.
and not just deleting them, because that wouldn't be fair to whoever's using them, because I'm
Right.
sure people download them to use them.
Sure.
But I'm gonna, after I evaluate the software, I'll make a plan, and I'm putting together a plan to bring to PAC with recommendations on how to tighten up our edges some.
Well, the good news is you come from a background in that, so you really know how to do it. I guess I didn't know that you had done a lot of vulnerability testing at INL. So that's good to know, because the last thing we need here is a hack. And have you dealt with any ransomware attacks?
Not directly. I've read about a lot of the reports.
Oh, we
that come
hear,
in.
we hear
Yeah.
about them all the time.
Yeah, and at INL we were sort of on the inside, so we did get some of the stuff that wasn't publicly available.
Yeah.
And was able to read into that and dig a little deeper.
Well, how would that work here? So if we had the vulnerability, how would a ransomware attack work?
A ransomware attack can really be devastating. It can just shut down the whole campus.
Mhm.
I mean, if it spreads fast, it can shut it down. I think the big key is recognizing it early. So if it happens to you, bad news does not get better with age. Let somebody know so we can take care of it. We can worry about everything afterwards, but we need to lock it down, get it off the network, and isolate it. So I think that's the key to.
So
being successful.
essentially, tell me if this is right, but a ransomware attack would limit our ability to use our network. So, for example, in the budget office, they may be locked out of their finances, for example, and in order to get back into those, we would have to pay a ransom to whoever locked us out.
Yes, exactly.
So, okay, go ahead.
And a ransomware, what they do is they get into the hard drive and they encrypt it, and they ask money for the code to unlock it. So without that code, you're out of luck unless you've planned ahead, unless you've done your backups, tested your backups, and have a plan to restore your systems.
So the easiest way for us to recover from a ransomware would be to just clear the system and restore a backup.
Yes.
And that should work.
Yes, that should work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the organizations that have been hacked with a ransomware didn't have adequate backup.
Correct. That's why they pay the ransom, because they didn't have their backups.
Okay, because if they would have, all they would do is just
they
start over.
all they do is unplug their computers, reformat the hard drives, zero them out, sanitize them, reload the software, and you're up and going again.
Okay.
While it may take you a couple from days to weeks to get everything up up 100%, it's not going to cost you anything.
Right. So, and we were talking, so we have regular backups for this college.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'd like to expand that to communicate with some other colleges in Idaho, see if we can share backups. So they would store our backups on their campus, we'd store their backups on our campus. So if things go really bad, they have one more place. There's a saying, one is none, two is one, and one is none.
Yeah.
So you always assume that one of your backups is bad.
Sure.
So always have at least two backups.
Sure. And being out of the location is good too. So if we have a flood or something like that, backing up to Aman City Hall may not be the best idea. It's a really good idea, but it may not be the best idea.
But having one there is good, but having another one in Boise or in Coeur d'Alene is great.
Yeah. And obviously they want the same thing.
Exactly.
So all we're doing is sharing
resources,
sharing a little bit of resources with that. So what are there any other defenses or any of those other kinds of things that we have in place here, Ray?
Well, obviously our single sign-on. It's just not an open network. Not everybody can come in and log onto our network and look at all our files. You have to have a login and a password to access it. So that is a very key thing for everyone. So it is a closed network. Just off the top of my head, I can't. What else do we do to secure it?
Well, you've done some level of audits, which is good to know, and over time, and it's only been a month, so it takes a little while. But I'm glad to hear that you're auditing the systems, making sure that they're working, and doing everything we can to not be vulnerable. So here is a question. So at Yellowstone, we have a whole bunch of cyber students over there. That has got to scare you at some level, that there's a whole bunch of cyber students over there doing stuff, who knows what. And then we're still running colleague across the main college backbone. So what prevents them from inadvertently corrupting the data that we run the college on?
I have them in a box all their own.
Okay, good.
So they can play.
Sandbox,
they can exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Literally a sandbox. They are in a closed network, so they can do all the fun stuff. They can red team, blue team. They can hack. They can release viruses on their own networks if they want to, and all they got to do is reset.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect us. It doesn't touch us. They have no links into us. If they need to come onto Canvas, that's a whole separate network. It is air gapped. They can't.
Right.
One can't jump from one to the other. So they are free to play, and we want them to play
We do,
because learning.
we do.
By experience is amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. So Ray, we have gone through our 45 minutes already, so it does go quicker than you might think. And what I always do, you're relatively new here, but what I'd like to do with each of our guests is see if they, you've been in a leadership realm, both in the military and at the lab and now here. Do you have a couple of leadership principles that you'd like to share with us?
Certainly. My top one is to be technically and tactically proficient, which means to know what you're supposed to do and to be able to do it when the time comes. My second one is as important as the first, is to know your subordinates and look out for your welfare.
Good. Yeah.
If you don't think you work for your subordinates, you're in the wrong line of business, because every leader, without the subordinates, they're nothing. So you got to take care of your people, and then to keep your subordinates informed,
right?
Because knowledge is power, and I want to share the knowledge so everyone can. I don't want to be the keeper of the knowledge.
Right.
Everyone, the more people know the answer, the easier it is to get a problem solved.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think those are three really good tips, actually, thoughts, and you've been at this a while. So, Ray, we're really fortunate to have you. So, normally the flow of employees goes from us to the lab. So, I've rubbed this in a little bit with the right people. That once in a while, not real often, but once in a while, we have a flow this direction. So, welcome, and it's good to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. So everyone watching today, we're on Friday, and I think we're going to have a wonderful weekend. So thanks for joining us, and wish you a good Friday and a wonderful weekend. So thanks for